Good morning. This is Dave Dyer with Biz Radio. It's November 26th, the day before Thanksgiving, and I've got a little idea or an insight that I'd like to run out there and see if anybody else has any ideas on this or suggestions. It's based on a limited sample, on my limited sample, so it's not not necessarily right. But I've noticed, and maybe it's not polite to point this out, but I've noticed that some people from certain backgrounds, certain professional backgrounds, make better investors than others. And I've noticed that certain other groups seem to have a hard time. The people that I've found that have a hard time in investing, in managing their own money, in picking stocks and playing the stock market successfully, the people who have had a hard time, in my experience, have been engineers, physicians, and college professors, scientists, people like that have had a hard time. And the people who have had an easier time, who adapt to it right away, are musicians, artists, attorneys, and salespeople. Okay, now what's the difference between these two groups, these two sets of groups? I think there are two differences, really. First of all, scientists, engineers, physicians are used to being right all the time. If only half of my bridges don't fall down, I'm a pretty rotten engineer. Engineers have to be right 99.9% of the time. There's not room for failure when you're building something new or designing something. Whereas lawyers, no lawyer is right 99%. Nobody wins 99% of the cases. You're used to being wrong. Salespeople, my gosh, if a salesman sold every deal, failure, being wrong, making mistakes is a part of their day every day. Whether you're an attorney or a lawyer or a salesperson, I mean. Now with the artists, the dancers, the musicians, I think they don't deal with right and wrong, but they deal with a process that they enjoy. And if they get into the investing process, they enjoy that process. So anyway, one of the big differences, I think, is that this whether you're used to being right or wrong, or whether you personally have to be right or wrong all of the time, because that's one of the ways to lose big money in the market is to hold on to a losing position just to prove that you were right. And I've seen my engineering friends do this. I've seen them hang on as it goes down and lose money because they're not willing to admit that they're wrong. If you're going to be a successful investor, you have to be willing to admit that you're wrong. And quite a few times. I try to shoot for being right about a third of the time myself. So anyway, that's one difference. The other difference that was pointed out by my wife is that if you're trained as a scientist or an engineer or a physician, you're used to dealing with a fixed set of facts, of principles, of rules that don't change. You're not in an environment where the fundamental concepts are likely to change on you. Whereas if you're an artist, you're out trying new things all of the time, looking at things in new ways. If you're an attorney, my goodness, everything can change. The law can change itself, but the environment that you're applying it in can change, and certainly the same thing is true of people in sales. They deal with change all of the time. So really, I think if you add, my wife, for example, is a scientist and not a great investor. In fact, she likes cash. So I think those two issues, one, the ability, the comfort level of dealing with changing sets of principles and changing environments, and the interest in having to be right all the time as part of your profession. I think those are the two fundamental differences that I've seen between those two groups. That doesn't mean somebody can't overcome it, obviously. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying a good engineer can't become a good investor. That's crazy. But they may have a little more trouble than say an artist. I've seen some of my friends who are artists just got right into it. Or I have another friend, an attorney, who just, boy, I'll tell you, I love to talk to him because he's really good at this stuff and picked it up real fast. Was quite comfortable with it. So anyway, that's my alleged insight for today. And as usual, please go to bizradio.com, that's B-I-Z, and check out all the goodies that we've got there. Thanks. Bye-bye.